Welcome to Key Knife's instructional video for conducting a knife change and joining your key knife top and bottom planer heads. While watching the video, you may want to follow along with the instructions found in Chapter 3 and Appendix G of your system manual. Gray banners on the bottom of the screen will indicate the sequence being reviewed. The use of a hard hat, protective glasses, hearing protection, and cut-proof gloves is recommended when working on the cutter heads. Follow your mill's documented lockout/tagout procedures for the planer if you are changing the knives in the machine. In order to conduct a proper knife change, you will need the following tools: T-handle torque wrench set to 30 foot-pounds, T-handle wrench, 1/4 inch square head socket, air nozzle, wire brush and pick. If you are changing knives in the machine, you will want to blow down the planer heads to remove any loose fiber. Using a T-handle wrench, loosen all gib bolts in each pocket. 3 to 4 turns should be sufficient. You may find it most efficient to loosen gib bolts in several pockets at a time. Then rotate the head to the next section of pockets, continuing the process until all gib screws are loose. Next step is to remove the knives. If you have access to the side of the head, you can simply slide the knives out the side. If you do not have room to slide the knives out the end, simply pull the knives straight out. You will need to loosen the gib screws an extra turn to remove the knives using this method. Once all the knives are removed, blow any debris out of the pockets. Place the new or cleaned knife into place with the unused edge out. If there is room, simply slide the knife onto the gib from the end of the pocket. You can also place the knife onto the gib key from the top of the head. This will be necessary on some heads when changing knives in the machine. Ensure the knife is locked onto the key of the gib and push the knife forward to hold it in place while snugging one gib screw for each gib. Once all knives have been replaced, you can snug up the remaining gib screws. Once all the knives have been replaced, rotate the head and check the end of each knife to confirm they are properly seated on the gib key. Once confirmed, tighten all the gib screws with the T-handle torque wrench. Because of the head design, no torque sequence is necessary. Key Knife recommends a torque of 30 foot-pounds. Using a wire brush or scraping tool, clean the top and bottom of the knife. To save time and speed up the knife change procedure in the machine, you can install a second set of knives that you have already cleaned. The knives removed from the cutter heads can be cleaned once the machine is back up and running. Once new knives are installed, they need to be jointed to establish a true cutting circle. Joining your key knife planer knives takes a slightly different technique. It is important to joint the knives lightly. Removing too much material in a pass will lead to reduced performance. Key Knife recommends starting with an 80 grit stone with a K or L hardness when joining the top and bottom heads. Some mills have experimented and found other stones to be more effective for their individual operation. The first step is to turn the stone down until it just hits the knives and begins to spark. Slowly move the stone across the head and back to the inside of the head. The stone should just barely hit the knives and will not spark all the way across the head. Turn the stone down about an eighth to quarter turn, then slowly move the stone across the head and back to the inside of the head a second time. Again, the stone will spark intermittently as it hits the high spots and skips the low spots on the knives. Each pass on the stone over the knives should be made slowly, as you can see in this demonstration. Repeat this procedure until the stone sparks the knives consistently across the entire length of the knives. At this point, pass the stone back across the entire length of the knives 2 more times without turning down the stone. The stone will spark less with each pass. After joining, shut off the machine and rotate the head to make sure that all the knives have been adequately jointed. Joining is required whenever new knives are installed in the planer. Joining frequency during operation will vary from mill to mill for optimal results. When done properly, frequent joining will maintain a sharp and clean edge on the knives, which prolongs knife life. As a general rule, top and bottom heads are jointed once every 2 to 5 hours. For more information on knife changes and joining, see Chapter 3 and Appendix G of your system manual. Contact your Key Knife account manager if you have additional questions or concerns.